Sunday the 2nd of September. In the early hours of Sunday morning, the Great Fire of London started. Some say it was because a hot ember fell from the oven and set fire to a nearby pile of wood. Others say that Farina had forgotten to sweep out the oven, which meant that the dying fire sprang back to life. Even Farina's maid was blamed, although she never had the chance to deny this because she was one of the first people to be killed by the fire. By 3 o'clock in the morning, flames rose high above Pudding Lane and could be seen for a quarter of a mile away. A strong wind helped the fire move quickly, blowing it west from house to house. It fed off the dry wooden frames of buildings and licked at thatch roofs and pitch, pushing southwards towards London Bridge. If the fire travelled across the bridge, everyone and everything south of the river would also be in great danger.
Pepys' Diary. Samuel Pepys is now famous for the diary he kept between 1660 and 1669. He was highly regarded Londoner because he worked as an administrator in the Navy and later became a member of Parliament. Pepys' diary is more than 1 million words long and is packed with detail about his personal life and work. It also contains information on great moments in British history, such as the conqueration of King Charles, the devastation of the Great Plague, and of course, the Great Fire of London. In his diary, Pepys wrote that his maid rushed to tell him about the spreading fire. By and by, Jane comes and tells me that she bears that above 300 houses have been burned down tonight by the fire we saw, and that is now burning down all Fish Street by London Bridge. The Diary of Samuel Pepys. The only way to stop the fire from spreading was to create a fire break. Houses had to be pulled down to create space between the fire and the building still standing. Most people didn't want to tear down their homes, but nothing else would stop the fire. Pepys went to King Charles and asked him to take action. The king was deeply troubled by Pepys' visit and sent him to deliver his message to the Lord Mayor of London. Sir Thomas Bloodworth, the mayor, was sent to panic, shouting, "Lord, what can I do? I have been pulling down houses, but the fire overtakes us faster than we can do it." The fire continues to spread west towards Thames Street to warehouses filled with oil and alcohol. The deadly combination fed the fire and made the fire even more dangerous.
Monday the 3rd of September. Only a day after the first flames had escaped the oven, the Great Fire was unstoppable. It raged through the city, destroying some of the buildings on London Bridge. By evening, the flames burned so brightly that night looked like day, and ash fell from the sky like snow.
Tuesday, 4th of September. By Tuesday, the fire was so hot that nobody could get close enough to fight it. The firefighting equipment was no match for the blaze, and when St. Paul's Cathedral caught fire and Ludgate Hill and part of Fleet Street went up in flames, King Charles II ordered that as many buildings as possible be knocked down. Men, women and children fled their homes, taking as much with them as they could carry, even burying some of their belongings to protect them. Some people escaped on foot in carts and by boat, while others stayed to fight the fire. At its worst point, the Great Fire of London burnt through 100 houses in just 1 hour. But thankfully, the strong winds were starting to weaken.
Wednesday the 5th of September. On Wednesday, the smell of gunpowder filled the air as houses and shops were blown up. Many important buildings, including St. Paul's Cathedral, the Royal Exchange and the Guildhall, couldn't be saved from the fire. The king took charge of the firefighting and organised groups of people to demolish buildings. Lines of men snaked from the River Thames to the riverside. Houses and shops were still on fire, passing buckets of water between them. It was a slow process, but the biggest flames began to die down. More than 3 days after it had started, the great fire was finally under control. Lord, what a sight it was by moonlight to see the whole city almost on fire.